just to follow Carol. It's my great privilege to introduce to you someone who so many of you already know. Some of you, the details are going to be things that you've already heard before, but it can never be said too often. I'm going to be introducing Dr. Luke Carman, who is sitting here waiting. And I'm just going to start out with the very basic facts of Luke being a successful author and academic who's published writing in so many places I have not got you a list. Those types of CVs are intolerable because they rank in many pages. His three major works, to remind you, if you do not already know, that are critically acclaimed are Elegant Young Man, Intimate Antipathies, I'll get it right in a moment, and An Ordinary Ecstasy. I find that the titles themselves are really relevant and give you all kinds of ideas of what the heck is in these books with those titles. You can see more of his website, lukecarman.com, which is terribly easy to find, and I recommend it to you. And while I've got the chance, may I put in a word for all the other presenters here today. Many of them you will find have some kind of platform that you can access and you can find out a lot more about them. And I hope that many of you do that. Now, as some people here today know already, how we met Luke. Now, I'm going to add a little bit which I haven't written down. It was this handsome young bloke who just rolled into the room. It was some better kind of, it was kind of a dramatic arrival. And of course, he won. That was Zine West in 2010. Zine West, by the way, is a zine publication, a fairly simple thing, but what it does is help an awful lot of writers, particularly in Western Sydney, to get a start, to get a publication somewhere, to get noticed, and maybe even win a gold medal. He won. Okay, so then moving quickly along, skipping a few years, he became our Zine West writing judge, and then we'd say, what if we can ask Luke back again? Well, you might as well ask him, it doesn't hurt. Would you like to come? Yeah, sure. So we just keep on asking him, he keeps on saying yes. He just said yes this morning and asked him. He judged Zine West's writing for this year. But all through these things is also how he met Mihaela. And it's just as remarkable, his commitment to Zine West is mirrored in his remarkable contribution and consistency in supporting this wonderful venture of Mihaela's, which I know she has a legion of people who support her and help her and routinely come back and help her again. But we know who started it. It was definitely Mihaela. And Luke has been one of the pillars of this program, reaching out and having other effects. And of course, one of the most amazing effects on all of this is that excellent collaboration between Luke and Mihaela, which nobody would have likely predicted, producing a bilingual edition of 4 of Luke's major pieces. That was quite an achievement, and somewhat, I would have thought, rather surprising. We don't necessarily expect these consequences to come, but it is very encouraging for us to know the collaboration, and collaboration across 2 communities is absolutely wonderful. It's inspiring, and it's marvellous to think that Romanians and Australians can work together on something as interesting as this project of Mihaela's. So I think that in closing, I would just like to say, by the way, I'll just go back a step, I'm sorry. A glove box of your own, yeah. That was the name, that was the title, but in Romanian that volume was given. There were 4 essays, but the Romanian publishers said, no, don't call them essays, call them stories, otherwise they won't read it. So this is where you need the local knowledge, isn't it? It really does, that's the collaboration speaking for you. But that was also, had an outing. Of course, Luke went to Romania. I mean, who was ever going to predict that? That he did. He went there for the launch of his book. But he also did this with Augusta Suffolk back there. She helped organise that and did one of those masterclasses of interviewing. How do you interview 2 people, Luke and Mihaela, and get them to say stuff that they would have otherwise never have said? It was a fascinating interview to listen to. Well done. So that's enough for me, but please welcome Luke Carman, our wonderful supporter, to the microphone. Thank you.
Sue, thank you so much for, as usual, just a ludicrously generous introduction. Really, I mean, I get way more out of this than what I give, and so I really don't deserve that generosity, but I'll take it. And also thanks to Mihaela and the team for this honour. It means a lot to me. And just as an aside, I was saying to Mihaela earlier, I did go to Romania, and the generosity was equal to Sue's in that country, and I can't put words to it spontaneously. But I just want to say that afterwards, I came back from Romania. I would have never predicted that I would end up going to Romania either. But afterwards, I found out through DNA testing that my son is part Romanian. I think it was always karmic destiny for that. And I want to thank everyone here for the next 10 minutes that I'm going to take away from you. I just want to discuss the book in the most distilled way that I possibly can. So if you open it up, I heard a few people breaking the seal on it a moment ago, so if you open it up, you see that just beyond the pages, where peace, joy, and happiness abide amidst the diaphanous trees of Luminita Serbanescu's opening illustrations, you get Paris Rosemont. He's the first Australian contributor to our shared anthology, and she quotes the greatest Romanian poet, Mihaela, who said that each thing lives because it dies, and dies because it lives. And she plays the barefoot poetess, travelling in the dark of winter's bleakest cast over peaty thaws of rugged hills, offering monasteries and those thorny parts of love that endure beyond the first flush, to ask, et où n'est pas et? It's French, and then she wanders on an evening star with a wild compare of a poet. And Jane Downing then takes centre stage, and she's ready for that second childhood in the seventh age, and summons a dependent clause of off-season Santas with all their paltry pomp and their buckled brass, aping apple-cheeked life in their downtime before this final season's curtain call, and their bitter ashes falling from cindered summers in a fall of light, with a small hour's squeeze and ache so tender no living tailor can hem the ragged edges. And the evening star winked, the day I let you go, in Norm Fairbairn's atheistic elegy for an angel passing, with consecrating gesture to an ocean breeze, and Neptune's tide undone, where the lovers are aiming north to that place to cast off all regrets, and the bait fish are always schooling, and sapphire blue waters cut through in sharp canals, and after-work drinks are served all day, and the hands of love lie forever within your reach. Peter Cartwright is a hierophant with a certain vision, double-eyed Tiresias, who sees a hard rain will fall in 4 dimensions, the soupy stew of the sodden season from which mists grunt their leathery clouds, and the cosmic coachman gathers his wings like the Dullahan of Irish folklore, whose headless body sits astride black horse, while the cockatoos sulk in wet silence and the umbrellas sprout like fungi on the soaking bark, fending off the senseless shivers in a fever of wood fire in Daniel Vieira's settling over the surface of seashells, while the churning of bold waters threaten, as the shrieks and curses crowd out nature's vaunted breath, and the silky milk is stabbed of skin, lanced by golden light, and all's aggrieved into the soul of an ebbed retreat, until salt-slapping winter returns and the vital push and pull plucks gulls, and their elation in the siren call of the earth buoyed by winged peace. Beyond the blue door is Trish Jean's renewed familiarity, a movement through seasons, open to a still life of lemon tree patina, the memories of that first age, the great garden of aunts, where tea leaves take their swift trip down gully trapped by wooden stairs, and you sit hooked to the cool cognition of palliative care condition, drip fed, 1 meal an hour, and ask yourself how close you're going to come to not quite getting there. In lyric anaphora, Jason Gray is beseeching, remember me. Elegiac longing to be recalled in windy, icy winter's deepest nights. first blush bursting spring, in plagues of earnest autumnal eves, in sweltering highs of summer's seduction, and almost always in the rain it seeps beneath the lilting leaves that tear-spilled affirmations of the tenderest time gather together. And then Roger's dreaming meanwhile, in rented rooms, upon an unmade bed for C.A. Broadrigg, is granting high hopes of starry immortality in that long, cold winter of a fry cook's discontent. His bit heartbreak in a local theatre group performance is a seed growing into wild imaginings, distant, dizzy heights, and shameless showbiz bacchanalia, rubbing shoulder to shoulder with A-list luminaries and in-crowd impresarios, sure to find a feast, an orgastic future just out of reach, and yet somehow is already receiving. Like the meetings between enlightened recluses and Buddhist poetess nuns, Marie Dustman's ekphrastic odes to white foxes reclining under flowers and mists in the luminescent evenings, swapping tea-house tales of anachronistic ghosts, calling from yet uncharted antipodes while we drink our jasmine tea by geraniums in an easy elegance of summer evenings, Zen haikus, sending smoke signals at break of day, calling up an asynchronous bird song rhythm to cool a slow-burned land in neopolises, lightning strike a smokestack verse, stunned into dread awareness of an existential evil that's radiating from a hazy sphere of fire in the sky, and arid eyes are cracking with dusty tears, and dead summer dogs deaf for days, lost in translation while the moon is howling dark dreams. In perpetual reproach, the virgin bud, opening to affirm, today I'm spring, and Alona Kruger's blossoming, seasonal, metamorphic metonymies, an alliterative array of compare, whirling zephyr-like through the sensual innocence from form to fluttering, form like the butterfly whose movement in the air is evoking incantations of elixir gods, and clocks announced with compass points summer's full flower and autumn's changeling honeyed with leaf, and winter's pulling slump of drooping shoulders, the uncomfortable truths of Anna Ranovich, and moving from day to doleful day, constant in their unknowable inconsistency, looking for homilies in all the wrong places, and turning time to time in a clockwise whirly gig of unattended testament, the cud of eternal return that goes spiraling down towards some overwhelming question, or else stood mute and mindless like a flock of lambs mewling over persistent centrifugal ages. In the summer of 73, Robin Young rides through to a seat on the bus to ballad of mountain boys, bent double by beach bags and giggling sighs of girlish blooms spilling out of sandy waves and passing bikini mannequins in their shopfront display. Stretched along the beach in impromptu choreography of oil-slick limbs under sunned skies, and the seabirds suspended in endless blue. There's a promise of spring to be sprung in Francis Bechtel in Here and Now's Augustus Supple's genealogy of colonial romantic Gothic myth, conjured to adumbrate the unmarried nature of a woman in her prime, unmanned, untethered, unbothered as she peers with this dark fringe toward her schooner of ale in a dimly dappled bar, and her soul is glowing bright in a nomadic syntax of unanchored, hemispheric, pole-vaulting self-contentedness. And Carol Amos is proffering some memories of spring in England, of Mac and Carol. These two paperwork expat detectives on the trail of these unpaid accounts. Across from Hyde Park and Grosvenor House, they're on the lookout for a furnished flat with a fireplace lease and a pastoral picture of gambling lambs leaping in the spring-flowered fields, the humours of the sceptred isle awakening in the shifting airs and graces. Anasaura Laura Cristescu is wishing upon the rustling page those flames that float between the lines to come alive in the spring of feelings, the sanctuary of escape, his midsummer dream of purpling poppies and mirrored inquisition spread across the silver surface of enchanting waters, a cosmogonic eclipse, the thrumming petals of a dragonfly's wings trembling like a first kiss, stolen like a whisper on the wind, or a story that's not yours to tell of budgie smuggling, maybe, where Iona Petrescu provides the tall tale of these two star-crossed refugees, secreting cargo of two distinct intimacies, both of which burst from their concealment in a flurry of birth, death, and freedom, all commingling in a constellation of coincidence and a fury of feathers scattered in the fateful winds, on family folklore passed down by septuagenarian storytellers to anyone in earshot. A dream, a distant land so vivid they transport Victoria Cartwright to a Puget Sound winter. It's that estuary in the Salish Sea whose snow-rimmed cliffs ring with a sudden storm of battering sprays and shivering chill. It shakes and stamps a tempest round a cabin warmed with fiery eyes and tender touches upon a body aching. All its heart to be smoothed by embrace, enveloped in arms so lifelike no fading dream can explain the electric touch that lingers on the skin. And Bill Collis comes to winter's end. He's alone this time. It's that place where the shadowy figurations appear in a flash of lightning, like a memory of some terrible deed, beckoning me back to the hollow of her pale neck, and the luminous blue blazing in her eyes, sensual, solemn lips, a ghost, waist deep in accusing waters, coming for you asleep like a screen door banging in the bitter wind as the sunrise breaks pink and gold, and you hear your own breathing in a sudden alarm of wakefulness, paled by some premonition of ill ends to come. Passing at the proverbial ships in the night to Marina Robin's sisters, two siblings divided by 3 years of age, and that inscrutable law of nature that pushes people 9,000 miles apart to become like separate worlds whose conjunctions cast long occluding darkness and no warmth. Till so much time has passed, the new constellations begin to appear like some small new star that's shining in a storied sky, where eagles watch and sit. Mihaela Simone is lifting with heavy ascendancy to this vantage high above the parade, prodigal, from which our heights grant illusions of a perfect world, where all hunger, hurt, and want, one vast, abiding, luxurious nest, in which every desire has its corresponding app, and every ill lies at an indeterminable distance underfoot. So every human suffering seems like a hill of dotted ants, and our eyes behold the sphere like human gods atop a lift-accessible Olympus. And nature's mind, its beauty and its passions, rage and retreat like lightning veins, glimpsed to a stormy synapses in Belinda Kirby's ode about all too human nature. Part and parcel of the cosmic soup which we swim, temporary as Achilles, bound in fleshy frame, just as like the break as riverbanks, when our vital waters overflow, our brutal natures give way to our great and abiding mother. Before ships come, Mihaela Cristescu's prophesying of fate. There's going to be touches, to be sure, and thoughts turning over their wheels, rolling towards some new beginning, despite the rain is falling, and their epics of old whose zeal might lead to wandering for lost treasures, time out of mind, wild in dread desire for new discovery, like some distant bell ringing in your ear, aching in the quintessential heart, turning, rolling, yearning for a pure and perfect path to love's new promised land. And if these songs and stories give you this melancholy air, dear readers, do not despair. If in these words you hear some faint figure Shakespeare called Death's second self, that heap of upturned ash that's thrown on youth and joy, a mound of doleful clay which seals up all in rest. Just remember how the bard concludes, this sorrow thou perceivest makes thy love more strong, to love more well, which thou must leave ere long. To quote, in other words, the remaining poet, each thing lives because it dies, and dies because it lives. This is true in life as it is in art, but we have no need for the later part. As it stands, our need is more than can be said in words, but from time to time, as these our authors show, it's in the attempt. That's all. Thank you very much.
It's my honour to introduce the first reading bracket for today, and just because it was a little bit hard to collect everybody at the last minute and give you all the updates, what we will be doing is asking you, each one of you, in your particular bracket to come up. We do beg of you, do not risk the middle aisle, please. We'd rather that you kicked over the 9 pins of the bottles over here. It would be a safer outcome here. Now, if you do not like ascending the throne here, there's a few of us who are a bit wobbly today, there's at least 3 of us, and we're using this microphone, which you, of course, are also welcome to use when we pull you up. We will be, whoever's introducing you, it'll be me first, and the next bracket will be Danny Draper, who is there. There is Danny. And number 3 will be Anna Schwarra, who will introduce the third bracket. And what we're going to ask you to do is simply come up, say good morning, no explanation of your piece. The pieces are wonderful, they will stand all by themselves on their own firm little legs, so you'll be fine. Some of you will be reading an excerpt because you've got a 3-minute limit. I do apologise, but it's kind of important. Oh look, people are looking in to see if we're important. We're very important, okay. And then that's it. But please don't suddenly impulsively walk in. This is really shaky. I mean, the volumes themselves are propping up that. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce our much loved local poet, Norm Bevan, who it's his choice now. He's so close to the microphone. The later rules, well done. Norm Bevan is going to read poems from pages 38 to 41. I'm not quite sure which ones he's picked, but he is going to read. So if you're looking on the book, if you wish, start having a look at page 38. Just a very brief word about Norm. He has published an amazing 5 volumes of poetry, as well as 3 children's books in verse. I mean, that is pretty wow, I reckon. He's also in the past kind of gone for best poem in Zenny West, which is never a particularly easy thing to do. And now it's over to Norm to read. Thank you.
Hello. I'll do the one on topic first, which is page 40, which is in. Don't know one on topic, but I forced to level. Winter's End. Life stirs again under a thinning crust. All the hibernators after months of temporary death and seized joints indigenous to the season creep reluctantly into life, like old men having overslept. This winter blanket protector and jail are both, its rule now challenged by a faraway light, where silence has reigned above winter's decree 100 shortened days and an economy of sunlight, where now distant whispers, so faint as to be denied, rise. For the moment, winter still rules like a story where you sense the end, denied by some, the truth being that even for love lost in hibernation, life like a sleeping eye blinks awake. Some may well refute that in a pinprick of light, as distant as a liar's promise, Mother Nature prepares the ground for spring's Caesarean birth. Eventually, children will re-emerge to play, to sing a new season song. The hands of lost love, although not touching, will be at the very least within reach. As light spreads its fingers, the whip-crack of air loses its sting. The deniers may well have second thoughts, and you never know. This might, it just might, signal winter's end. Okay, get back to the page. Bass Point. I did the sea change about 3 years ago, and I love the joint. So I visited Bass Point, Bass Spot, and this is my impression of a sex city where looking back at his old life and his new life is Bass Point. At Bass Point, lovers crochet together, tan and stretched, pointing north towards the river and the lake. The hen by the pelican at full spread occupies the same amount of sky as the flock of seagulls above it. At Bass Point, there are no meeting rooms, no plug-ins, no screens that premiere both good and bad corporate pictures, no docking ports and no squat cards for the reserve. Here, after-work drinks are served all day and every deadline movable with the tide. At Bass Point, the sapphire blue cuts through rock shelves, filling sharp canals running landwards. Its shoreline rule while the unshaven and crumpled hats who see the funny side of an empty handline. Local gulls never want to see another city form focus groups where baitfish swirl. At Bass point, you can't avoid your bad decisions, and learn to part smile at the good ones, and become that goal. We never want to see another city. Having unplugged for the last time, enjoying the process.
Thank you very much, Lauren. Paris Rosemont is going to come and read for us in a moment, and she is reading from poetry pages 20 and 23. And just to mention something about Paris, which is very important, I think, her highly successful debut poetry collection, They're So Hard to Acquire Such Things, Banana Girl, has been followed by a second book, Barefoot Poetess. And just popping in a little plug there, the launch is 27th of March 2025, and I'm sure Paris could give you more details on that if you wish. Over to Paris, thank you.
The Sea Bomb Chronicles. Epigraph. Each thing lives because it dies, and dies because it lives. Mihaela Serbanescu, Evening Star. Mother dissuaded me from buying those pansies, piquant faces flickering with hope. Said it was frivolous to waste money on things that would soon die. If she knew about my diagnosis, would she consider her daughter an unnecessary luxury? 1. Être ou ne pas être? Something is rotten in the state of Paris. She is dying inside. 2. Death blow. I'm not the first, nor will I be the last, to get royally blown. 3. The strumpet's disease. Go on and say it. I deserve to be struck down for my loose morals. 4. Now I lay me down to sleep. I choose not to choose intervention. My life's not worth trying to save. 5. Running out. Would it change things if you knew I wouldn't always be here? Time is fast. Running out. 6. The end. We begin to die while still alive. Disease of the defeated mind. Thank you. And this is the title piece of my second poetry collection that's launching in a couple of weeks. Barefoot Poetess. There is not much I have to offer you, my love. I'm threadbare, travelling light through this darkness, carrying my knapsack of precious little, wandering in search of a heart to call home. I could give you my monastery, though it is on lease. When winter nips at the buds of my breasts, nature will come to cash in on the rent. Enjoy the cornucopia of now, but love me for more than my hollow husk. Love the thorny parts of me. They will endure beyond the first flush of foxgloves. Love my volcanic intensity, splitting open the earth's core like a perfectly poached thunder egg, drenching you in silken yolk. When you hear the susurrus of verdant fronds, my darling, my cheerleader pom-poms will quiver your name. I will give you this poem and many more. I will plant my roots in you and call you home.
Thank you very much, Paris. We'd now like to introduce Anna Ivanovic, who writes short fiction as well as poetry, and published her debut collection in 2024 called Limits of Forgetting. She's going to be reading her poem from between pages 107 and 108. Please welcome Anna.
This is Uncomfortable Truths. bring my own little stand.
Is that much better?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you. Thanks.
This is what I've actually just
Oh.
Yeah, the left.
This is Uncomfortable Truths. From day to day, not a thing remains the same. Uncertainty, the name of the game. The seasons are changing. Premature buds born before their time. Freeze to death. And we continue to search for silver linings in all the wrong places. In the centrifuge of life, siloed, separated, we spin and spin untethered, ignoring testimony, calls to action. Like sheep, we simply wait for this winter to be over. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. We'd now like to introduce Robin Young, winner of the 2023 Historical Novels Society Australia's First Page Pitch competition for her novel Moonchild. She'll be reading a poem from 111 to 112. Robin.
Without the boys. Beach bags shouldered, we board the bus to Ballina. Destination Lighthouse Beach. We sit, three in a seat for two, towards its front, to stop the backs of our thighs becoming one with hot vinyl. We lean, arms folded against the seat in front, unusually vacant for this time of year. We talk about the boys we want to ask us to the school dance. Our sighs and giggles rise. From the depot we walk, eager to get sand and waves and boys who said they'd join us today, who called across the playground, "Meet you at 10!" Before hands in pockets they sauntered away. But instead, we pause to look at androgynous mannequins in crocheted sea-folly bikinis with price tags beyond our babysitting budgets. In our fozzies beneath our halter-neck dresses, we sigh. We arrive at the beach and scan. The boys aren't here. We shrug, then slick our hands with reef tan oil, sans SPF of any number. We cover each other's shoulders and backs, then lie stomach down, our heads on pillow arms, bikini top strings untied. No tan lines allowed. We sense when each of us will move, and as though choreographed, reach behind, retie our strings, turn over and stretch long-limbed, long-necked, and face the sun. No thought of aging faces, of any future beyond this moment, when as one we rise and dash across the searing sands, plunge into the waves, our jubilant cries lifting to join the seagull's flight.
Thank you very much, Robin, who's also had to come a bit of a distance to get here. Well done, thank you. Last in this bracket, but certainly not least, is Peter Cartwright, and he describes himself thus: an Irish Catholic Australian pagan with a passion for the earth and for justice, a cloud of cats, and the great fortune of having his champion for his wife. We actually have the great fortune of hearing from her later on in the program. He will be reading a poem. Go to page 46 for Peter. Thank you.
You said, Susan. 46? Okay. Excuse me. A certain pursuitness seems to suit me. Yeah, a certain vision. We're using the microphone cool here. There we go. A certain vision. Autumn is the soul season that tastes of fresh and gingery tears of clouds that were once milk, but have now gone bad and blue. Autumn falls into that space of uncertainty with soupy fogs and stewy humid days. Is it soup or stew? Or maybe salad we should have for tea. When the rain comes, umbrellas sprout like mushrooms, like sapling trees with sharp twigs that poke you in a careless, bad moment. The sodden afternoon falls, soaking unwary pedestrians crossing roads as slippery as ball bearings underfoot, and the colour of black pepper floating on the surface of soup, or brightly polished old-fashioned leather Bibles. The colour of the car, bringing Judgment Day out of the mist to the unwary, like some dark, rolling angel of destruction. The rain falls in silver bullets, white lines containing all the light that black umbrellas refuse to entertain. But the days are grey, that uncertain thing that won't show all the light, or refuse to show it, and just be black. The days are grey, that grunting name we give it, the thing that sunshine or wind could blow away, as if they were summer's henchmen working late. The kookaburras are still laughing at the jokes that died with summer's end. But the cockatoos are sulking somewhere, silently waiting for better days to come. To the south is rain. To the north is struggling sunshine. And overhead it's suddenly fine. I can see the future. Winter. I have 2 eyes. And my vision has thought of visions.
Thank you, Peter.
We are going to change a little bit the schedule of the program because our lovely Paula needs to leave a little bit earlier. So I'm going to invite Danny to present Luminita, and then while you are going to see her beautiful presentation, photographs, we are going to listen to the music. Thank you.
Good morning, afternoon, almost. Morning. Everyone, good morning. Just give me 1 second, because I need to present somebody. It was a misunderstanding. 1 second. Okay, so play with the music. I'm sorry.
Hello, we are going to welcome records, Paula has been a pivotal ambassador of the Latin American and Ibero-American and Colombian art song repertoire in the Asia-Pacific region. Her tireless work has introduced this rich musical tradition to the Australian audience, making her the foremost Latin American soprano in this part of the world. Notably, Paula is the visionary behind the Art Song for All project, a laudable endeavor aimed at embracing the entire community, transcending both Latin and Australian boundaries, to appreciate the classical repertoire composed in Latin and Ibero-American languages, enriched with the poetry and composition of talented Latin Ibero-American artists. In recent years, Paula Monroy has emerged not only as a remarkable opera singer and connoisseur of the Latin American classical repertoire, but also as a versatile artist who fearlessly incorporates various musical genres into her repertoire, consistently achieving resounding success. Now we are going to introduce Robert Clancy. Robert began studying the classical guitar at the age of 7 and at the age of 10 performed for Andre Segovia. After completing a Bachelor of Music degree at the University of Sydney, he was awarded a postgraduate scholarship from the Swiss government to study pre-18th century music at the renowned Schola Cantarum Basiliensis in Basel. During his 6 years in Europe, he performed extensively as a soloist and accompanist principally as a member of the Assembly Hesperion 20, directed by Jordi Savall. He made several recordings for Harmonica Mundi and Deutsche Grammophon and many radio television recordings in France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. He played regularly at major European festivals of early music. On returning to Australia, he formed and directed an early music assembly with international guest appearances. He has returned to modern classical guitar repertoire, performing mainly in small assemblies. Thank you.
So we found a presentation for Luminita just because we would like her beautiful photos to be as background for the music. Yes? So Danny, please present Luminita, and then we are going to. Danny will present. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to present Luminita, an artist, photographer, a long way from the Galati of Romania and the beautiful Danube River to the bush country of Australia, Canberra. When I think of seasons, my visual mind sees all those rolling hills and mountains painted in lovely tones of blue, white, amber, and all sorts of vivid greens. All these colours are singing around me, the wonderful musical piece of a valley, the four seasons, seeing life in different moods, different colours giving me a sense of transition of time. The changes in the landscape are fascinating. I could get lost into the huge clear sky, the stars. You could make your own story but still feel like you belong. I hope my photos will inspire you to have another look around you to see the beauty that exists all around us. I would like to take you with me on my journey. Please enjoy.
Okay. Now, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Some of you already know me from the years before. I'm Paula Monroy, and I'm very honored today, not just because of this amazing work that you do, the poetry and all the effort that you put in this beautiful event. Thank you very much for having us here, but also because today I'm here with the greatest and amazing musician and friend, Robert Clancy. It is a total pleasure for us to be here today We met in an event like this, and then we recognized ourselves as musicians and started to work. Today is the first day we're going to be playing together, and we decided what a great place between people that love us already. So we do great, amazing. If we don't, we know you're going to steal our and poeticians and artists. So the music that we present, as some of you know, is also poetry put into melody. And today we bring to you songs that tell stories, great stories also, from the Spanish repertoire, which we are not talking about flamenco. We are talking about Spanish music that compiles many Spanish tradition on it. I'm just going to check the sound a little bit. Everybody can hear us. Yeah. Nothing like that. If you feel like clapping, dancing, or even singing with us, breathe, please. You need to breathe for the next 10 minutes. Thank you. finish with another song from Manuel de Falla. All of the songs before were from the same composer, part of the same cycle of songs. This one is called Canción, song.
And what you see there is the seasons step by step. Sometimes I retrace my steps, not decided where to stop. The landscape as dramatic, sublime, never bored. I am fascinated by everything that surrounds me. The art of the nature is beautiful, creative, and interesting. Some trips are shorter, some longer. When I return home, my friends ask me, how was my vacation? What vacation? You get up at 3 or 4 in the morning, carry 10 or 14 kilograms of equipment, and come back at night. When I get home, the vacation starts. I like to research to discover another view on interpretation of what surrounds me. In another place, I have climbed about 3/4 of the way up the mountain and still had a bit to go to my photographic destination. I had about 12 kilograms of equipment with me. Some were already returning. I was still on my way up. An individual said to me, "Look ahead, put one step in front of the other. You won't be disappointed." Just like that, little bit slow, crawling up, I reached the top of the mountain, where I was greeted by a dream vision, where you forget that you have pain, that you have problems. It is a place where, without realizing it, nothing exists anymore. It is you and the nature around you. So I spent about 1 month in New Zealand, I think last year now, and I had some adventures. So we had to push the truck, but why stop? One more step, maybe. Destination unknown, season unknown, surprise. I love nature, everything related to water, such as ice, iceberg, glacier, for rain. Using the environment to express my art, to talk to nature, to encourage others to look around, explore and respect the unknown, the fragile nature that is so generous with us humans. And please observe that I do have a managing director, Tiger the cat. Now, with your permission, I'm going to introduce Maria Constantinescu. Maria is an Australian artist based in Sydney, New South Wales. Her work investigates different modalities in which information about the universe and related theory of the sublime and are translated into contemporary works of art. As a continuum of an artistic tradition in answer. In the 18th century, Romanticism. So a range of media including painting, drawing, digital video and play. Constantinescu Studios practice focuses on model modes of making the unseen visible, presenting the unpresentable and transformation metaphorically linked with alchemy. Constantinescu art works explore connections between imagination and reality and attempt to elicit the feeling and state of mind associated with the experience of the cosmic sublime. Maria's practice is deeply ingrained in the aesthetic of Romanticism and abstract expression. Her work follows in the steps of such visionary artists as G.F.W. Turner, Kazimir Malevich, Helen Pakenthaler, Jackson Pollock, Barnett Newman, and Yves Klein, and operates alongside contemporaries including Rayo Ikeda, Lindy Lee, Katie Patterson, and Semiconductor. I would also like to mention that Maria Constantinescu, in 2017, her works was showcased in the Margaret Olive Drawing Exhibition, National Art School, Sydney, under the tutelage of esteemed artist and educator, President of Colour Society Australia, Dr. David Rich. So, Maria Constantinescu.
Seasons are the result of Earth's movement around the Sun, the star of our home and solar system. Over one revolution around the Sun, the two hemispheres of the planet experience variations in sunlight exposure, leading to distinct seasonal patterns across the globe. The light of our star shapes every aspect of our existence and shares fundamental characteristics with all the light detected throughout the universe. Visible light represents a narrow band of electromagnetic radiation, yet it provides extensive information about our planet, solar system, and other celestial bodies, cosmic events, and the immense forces at play in the sublime universe. Formidable space episodes release enormous amounts of energy that we can observe in the visible spectrum, assisting in our endeavor to conquer the fear of the unknown and better understand the way we feel and think. The video work Ray Tolan, which will be presented next, explores the concept of the dynamically sublime, as labeled by the philosopher Immanuel Kant, through the lens of awe-inspiring cosmic development being witnessed from the safety of our planet. Time, vast distances, and the unique position of planet Earth within the Milky Way galaxy provide a protective vantage point from which humans can observe and interpret a wide range of space phenomena, many of them fierce and distressing. In addition to philosophical concepts, the artwork is informed by data from NASA and other space agencies, as well as scientific insights into the electromagnetic spectrum and its role in decoding information from space. Using modern technology to visualize electromagnetic radiation, particularly visible light, we can contemplate dramatic astronomical events such as galaxies colliding, the formation of vast nebulae, the birth of new stars and solar systems, and even the Big Bang itself. Although these phenomena were originally strikingly intense and all-consuming, the data has traveled across immense stretches of time and space to reach us as breathtaking displays of color and light, mere echoes of once mighty celestial events. Please enjoy my video.
overseas, has edited 6 books, produced a poetry CD, and supervised numerous creative writing projects at the Luminita Serbanescu. Ioana is enjoying her retirement by the ocean, making beautiful fish dishes, walking the Kelpie dog, and on the beach with her partner, and sometimes writing. Please welcome Ioana Serbanescu.
Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you so much for inviting me here. I was here, 8 years ago at a different launch, and it was lovely then. And when Mihaela invited me to come this year as well, I thought, well, why not? It's a beautiful place with beautiful people. So, here I am, and Mihaela sent me the PDF of the book many months ago, so I'm actually only today holding the book, and I must say it's beautiful and elegant, like everything Mihaela and Luminita with the cover have been doing, 9 times now, and obviously there will be another 10 book. And what can I say? I'm really delighted in looking at the book and the beautiful pages and the production of it. I admired it. And I'm thinking 9 books, Mihaela and Sue Crawford and Luminita Serbanescu, they've all worked hard on these books. I have them all because Mihaela sends them to me. So I do have them all, I must confess. And you know what? I asked Mihaela, what do you want me to say? I'm following Luke Carmen, want to be launching the book. What am I doing there? What's my role, right? So just be here and, I don't know, talk Romanian, English with a Romanian accent, so, for the flavour. So the real launch was by Luke. I'm doing the flavour bit. So, you know what? I'm looking at this book and I'm thinking, it's possible. We are at the other end of the world. We are all, several continents away from our families. Like most of us Romanians would still have families back home. It's interesting how these days you can be here and there at the same time. I think you are you going to send the videos back home, or how are you doing this?
Live now.
Oh, they're live. Okay. Hello. Hi. I haven't been to Romania, in 11 years, so hello. You know what? My favourite artwork was really just the first one by Luminita Serbanescu. If you look at it on page 6, it's so pretty, and it's called Dreaming of Spring, and it actually, she says she likes to bring joy to people. Like, it does bring you joy when you look at it, and I was expecting a book, you know, that will have some joy and all the seasons and everything, and there is some joy, but there's everything in between. So many feelings, and I've read it. I promise, I read everything. I'm telling you now that I really have read the book, and I am going to mention a few writers here. You know, Luke has already spoken about the English authors. So I'm only going to mention some of them in passing. when I started reading the Romanian authors, as Mihaela instructed, she's the boss, you know. So I have been instructed to do the Romanian ones. All right, so the guest author is Daniela Andronache, and she writes a contemplative nature poetry. And I wish I could translate all of this, but I can't translate everything for you in 10 minutes. So I'll only give you snippets here and there of what, you know, like I'll cherry pick a little bit. There are 40 authors, and really, it's a beautiful collection. Quite eclectic, I must say, because of the diversity. So not only is there, well, an Australian contingent, a Romanian contingent, and then, you know, those of us who live between two cultures, the diaspora writers, there's a lot going on in this collection. And there's something for everybody. I'm thinking of it that way. What I saw in Marius Keller's poem that I read, you know, that's one of the very first at the beginning. I really like the line which says the moon looks like dragging behind her a few stars. Well, that's so pretty, you know. It says luna pare că trăiește după ea câteva stele. That's nice. And then there's somebody following him, Jane Downing, and for some reason she also has something to do with the moon, you know, so she looks at it from the other hemisphere, and she says, a half moon hangs around still smooth as a gorilla's head. And I thought, oh, that's Australian, like it's smooth like a gorilla's head. So here we are, from Romania to Australia in like 2 seconds flat. So Victoria Dumitrescu, we found again the moon. I don't know, but poets have something to do with this moon. The moon was growing over them. She's talking about neighbours. She grew up in, I assume it's Bucharest, I don't know, it's a block of flats, and she talks about her neighbours, and she says, well, I'm not going to translate everything for you. It says, ziua era tot mai scurtă, dar strălucea urie, luna creștea peste ei pătrare, vremea trecea cu toate ale ei, vara, iarna, primăvara, puțin cam aiurea. So all of the seasons are just going over her and her neighbours, and she calls it a little bit odd. I love to see the word ayura in poetry, especially that it's pretty hard to translate into English. Like, means elsewhere, it means overseas, it means foolish, it means ridiculous. So I love the word ayura. I haven't heard it in many years, so there you go. I was supposed to talk mainly about the Romanian authors and writing, but on my way to the next Romanian writer, I just like to stop for a second and warmly recommend that people read Norm Fairbairn's poem At Bass Point. I thought that was really interesting. And the prophet's eye captures fine details and recreates perfectly in words, concrete imagery, elevating it from the everyday into poetry. Like I was really impressed by that poem. So one of my favorites in the collection. And I wish someone would translate into English Ivona Boitan's short story, Check-in Luggage. So people could feel the intensity of this story of the one left behind. I don't know if people have already read the collection. I'm not sure how you could do this. Just talk to Mihaela and ask her to translate it for you. It's really worth it. I was very impressed. Okay, so maybe you could ask me how to translate some more, you know, the poem by Ioan Popoiu, where people learn what sadness is all about. And like I said, it's everything, this collection is everything between joy and sadness, and it's interesting. Or maybe you had a hint, this is a very discreet hint. Maybe someone could translate the poem by Victoria Milescu, poems by Victoria Milescu, replaced by a poem by Jason Gray. He just has one poem here, but boy is it well written, and I thought the words and images just flow. It's so cool. Then there's some interesting travel writing by Daniela Guman, and it's a very good example of creative non-fiction. I could teach creative non-fiction on that little piece. It really is very interesting and, you know, very well written. I must admit, I haven't read a lot of contemporary prose lately. I must say that the excerpt from the novel The Questions on the Sphinx by Ștefan Dumitriu really surprised me. It was just like reading a classical author for an exam when I was at uni about 100 years ago. He's probably well known in Romania, and if he's not, he really will be or should be. It's a very, I love Japanese-inspired poetry anytime, so Marie Dustman's is really nice and minimalistic, and yet deep and evocative, but all, I don't know, I think haiku and Japanese poetry is that, isn't it? Minimalistic, deep and evocative. I found Luminita Serbanescu, she has a very interesting nostalgic prose, and I smiled at the memory of the doilies with pansies. Panseluțele de pe mileurile apretate ale doamnei Stoica. Well, you know what? They were present in each and every house at the time, I imagine. Even I have some doilies at home. Well, I don't think there's pansies, but there are some flowers. So I can't imagine there was reminded by Constantin Guman of Apollinaire and Shakespeare, I thought, yeah, well, take that. New internet age with your short attention span. Would anyone read Apollinaire and Shakespeare these days? If they do, it's like snippets of Shakespeare, and it has to be brought into the present, and everybody needs to be at the supermarket and things like that. So I kid you not, I saw in England, what was it? Oops, what am I doing? Destroying the environment? What else would the Romanian do? I must say, I saw this play. What was it? The Merry Wives of Windsor. I saw it in England, and it was in beautiful Shakespeare's Stratford-upon-Avon, and it started with all these women under those, what are they called, at the hairdresser. And yeah, and they were all chatting with each other, and I thought, oh God, what would Shakespeare think when we played it? He might like it. Okay, Karaoke Tokara reminds us of the white winters when it snows, jellyfish glowing in the dark. How pretty is that? I never thought of snowflakes as jellyfish glowing in the dark. That's so pretty. Anyway. I know I need to focus on the Romanian authors. However, on reading the book, I couldn't just skip. And I found that the English writing is very diverse, profound, and rewarding. There's a story by Augusta Supple. I hope I'm saying it right. Francis Bechtel. And this story moves with such ease through time and generations. And then it reaches the fairly non-conformist but very satisfying here and now. So I quite like that. The collection moves swiftly between seasons, as expected from the title of the collection, which boss Mihaela sort of came up with, I understand. Seasons? Who came up with the title?
Yes, but it's influence from Luminita Serbanescu's painting. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a collaboration of big minds that think alike. Okay, so then I couldn't help noticing how many Romanian writers, including Mihaela, focused on the winter of the Northern Hemisphere. Yeah, well, living in Australia, you forget about all that snow and ice, and it's interesting, you know? It's like going back home for, what, the time you're reading a poem. It's nice. There are many Australian authors and many Romanian authors and a few writers of the Romanian diaspora, Mihaela, Cristescu and myself included. So, you know, living and writing between two cultures can be very rewarding. We can see that even in the poetry of Anișoara Laura Mustescu. And then I must say that, I think I said it before, the haiku is one of my favorite forms of writing, so I'm a bit biased when reading the haiku by Florin Gorban. He says, Easter morning from the blooming cherry tree, the blackbird's song. So, isn't that Easter morning from the blooming cherry tree, the blackbird's song? It's very nice, in my opinion, and it's very Japanese. I don't know how he does that. He probably visited or is writing a lot about it. Someone called Verona Ion Pasarin tells us in his poetry that there are 5 seasons rather than 4 seasons of man and nature. And then I found the story of the 2 sisters with Mariana Robbins really interesting. It's a tale of modern times where people migrate and families live several continents apart. And then there's another piece of creative non-fiction that caught my eye in this book by George Dimitriou, his account of a trip in the forest. It's really enjoyable going on that visual trip. Mihaela, our editor and friend, ends the collection and thus closes one possible circle of seasons. She says, before spring comes, sounds will fade through silence. Well, I think it's not a lot of a silence because you're going to start very soon working on the next volume. So there's silence for now, but there will be another volume, as I'm told, and it will probably bring together many more writers, and it's such a beautiful and, as our painter, Luminita Serbanescu, would say, joyous occasion to see people, you know, from so many cultures and so different backgrounds working and understanding each other and what they're writing. It feels good actually in a world that kind of isn't all that friendly. So thanks are in order to Mihaela, to Sue Crawford, to Carol Amos and their team, and I hope you all have this beautiful volume to take home. And what can I say? Well, joy, and I am not envious, because I can't be envious, but I would love to sort of be part of your group and live in Sydney, but I also love Adelaide, so I'll go home with my volume. Thanks very much for inviting me.
Catalin is an actor and photographer in a family of artists coming from medieval Transylvania and historic Dobruja, Romania. She started photography in November 1987 with black and white portraiture and light painting photography, adapting it in a romantic way. Funny enough, during his childhood, his grandparents called him a kangaroo because of his ability to jump higher than other kids and run faster. So his journey to Australia seems to be a genuine choice. Catalin arrived in Australia almost 2 decades ago after traveling extensively and exhibiting around the world, helping people to discover themselves and share their beauty. Good performance as well as the recent play The Bear by A.P. Chekhov. The premiere on December 17, 2022. Please welcome Catalin Anastasia.
Hai să vedem acum omul cu microfonul ce face aici. Așa, e ok. Am să încep, am făcut o selecție de poezii, vă mulțumesc că ați venit, din extraordinarul volum de poezii și mulțumesc Mihaelei Cristescu de invitație. Și am să încep cu Vara lui Gulliver de Daniela Andronai. A zvârlit pe o insulă necunoscută de valurile mării, uriașul se scutură de micimea ce l-a năpădit. Caută sprijin încercând să se ridice, însă în Lilliput toate sunt atât de mici. Se ridică în cele din urmă ținându-se de razele soarelui, pământ nou se întinde sub picioarele sale, contemplația îi cuprinde mintea ca o aureolă. Un uriaș în soarele verii. Tot de aici am mai selectat, dacă aș putea, de Calliope Tocana. Filtrezi soarele printre degetele de la picioare și apa printre săbiile degetelor de la mâini. Prin mătasea pletelor strecor noaptea, oprind stelele din marea trecere. În genele mele grele de dor. Lucefie. Nu ei trasează calea marilor iubiri de întuneric. Carul mare nu e pentru luptele dintre învingători și învinși din constelația rătăciților dintre ambiție. Aș filtra printre degete timpul simplu, cu anii, lunile, săptămânile, zilele și ceasul fiecăruia de destin, fără trecut, fără viitor. Dacă aș putea, te-aș cuprinde în căușul palmelor mele, fără să te strivezi, dar nu știu cum faci. Că reușești să te strecori printre lacrimi și ploaie, lăsând în căușul mâinilor gol și chiar marea trece. Străzile desfrunzite de zgomote, de Marius Chelaru. Din ceața care îmbracă orașul se desprind siluetele oamenilor sparte în fâșii de alb și de întuneric. Alungate spre ușile blocurilor, luna pare că târăște după ea câteva stele, ceața se hrănește cu apele cerului, străzile desfrunzite de zgomote, despuiate de oameni, se întind cicatrici stârnind arare valuri în palmele cepții. Aici, ori. Vreo voce uitată în urmă cade ca o secundă orfană, ori ca o stea căzătoare, destrămându-se. Ceața se ridică o clipă, lumina lunii, atârnată ca o candelă de cer, scaldă abia orașul amorțit, un pui de vânt înflorește timid, ceața îl înghite culpavă. E primăvară, e noapte, e ceață, e frig, e singurătate. De anul nou, Victoria Dragu Dimitru, Bun venit, an străin, alb și înfigurat, vameș nu am văzut. N-am trecut vreun hotar, dar deodată în jur totul pare schimbat și din nou lumea întreagă mi-e dată în dar și din nou o primim și nădejdi înfrunzesc. Ceasul turnului iar se ascunde între flori. Voi iubi și mai mult tot ce încă iubesc. Și am să uit tot ce am vrut să uit uneori. Printre fulgi sărutați și pe buze topiți, printre fulgii pe geam în lacrimi trecuți, și mai mult vom iubi pe cei încă iubiți, și mai mult îi vom pierde pe cei ce-s pierduți. Trecem la Ioan Popoiu, singur sub cer. Gândul mă poartă undeva departe, nu pot să aștept în căutarea unui miracol. Caut drumul, dar calea e închisă. Și golul nu-mi dă pace. Toamnă cu plop de aram în văzducul cu arome parfumate, singur sub cer, doar cu gândurile mele și nimic nu se încheagă. Abisul din inima acestei clipe nu căuta ce nu poți atinge cu sufletul. Lumina se naște pentru cel ce o caută frenetic. Nu poți privi în suflet fără să te rănești. Fericirea este fulgurantă ca parfumul rozei. Ceea ce nu durează este mai aproape de adevăr. Nu vorbiți de rostiri filozofice din cărți. Mai multe enigme în viață decât în moarte. Drumurile acestea sunt paralele. Nu se întâlnesc niciodată. Demonii umblă peste tot, sunt aievea. Cerul Spaniei, un cor de îngeri mă întâmpină. Cavaleria rătăcitoare naște idealiști și luptători pentru gloria cerească. Stele răspund tăcerii noastre, frumusețea este un paradox. Nu o întâlnești pe drumul mundan. Chipul ei ca un fâlfâi de îngeri, tristețea este neputința de a privi cerul în liniște. Și ajungem la Victoria Milescu cu vara la 40 de grade. Lumina. Sângele dimineții. Pe ferestre, pe jaluzele, pe florile îngălbenind înainte de a se deschide razele soarelui grandios, lovesc ploapele, fruntea, tâmplele, străzile. La picioarele lui arc pompierii, le udă, înfloresc trolei buze pe trotuar, ca broaștele pe uscat. O mașină decapotabilă fluieră, doi tineri zboară ca libărulele, pixul alunecă pe foaia albă crucificată pe masă, vârful metalic înțeapă hârtia albă. Virgina. Cuvintele trec prin cele 40 de grade, etajul urcă spre cer, desprins din blocul vechi de beton încins, cu nunți, botezuri, la fiecare sfârșit de săptămână, măturând scările cu rochii de firmă, cu un acordeon răbușit cu miriapos, căutând și ei un loc liber la masă, la umbră, umplui bricul a treia oară cu apă pentru un ceai. Apa se evaporă mereu sub ochiul meu și el, un mic soare violacei la 40 de grade, soarele bate cu ralezele lui splendide, virile, bate să-i deschid. Beau apă ca florile, ca vrăbile, înnot în havuzul din creier, mi-e sete și somn și mi-e dor de satul bunicilor. De gârla verde albăstruie în care ne scăldam voi, noi copii fără părinți, împreună cu gâștele uriașe, ne uscam în puful lor trandafiriu, aruncam cu pietre albe, rotunde, ghicind în ele efigia unui zeu ce se scăldase și el odată aici. În apa dintre marurile, cu laur stădind în aer corole multicolore de strop, când veneam de la gârlă sleiți, mâncam păstăi cu usturoi. Fiertă de bunica, mămăliga era în centrul mesei. În centrul vieții era soarele arzător de care ne temeam la început, dar din care încet, încet rupeam câte o bucată și începeam să-l mâncăm cu poftă, cu foamea pe care ți-o dă scăldatul în apa din. Trecem la Constantin Cuman, a fi sau a nu fi. A fi sau a nu fi. Problemul avea și Shakespeare ca dilemă. Să fii pozitiv în viață este sagace, iar că ești negativ, stai ca pe ace. Dar a avea a devenit o pandemie, o boală de nevindecat în România. Ne zbatem să acumulăm la infinit, fără limită, un cont în bancă nesfârșit. Și uite așa, ne consumăm viața. Până la momentul când se rupe ața și ei cu tine numai 4 scânduri în întunericul din regi străfunduri. Chiprodest este întrebarea. Vovadis e continuarea. Răscurge în care te blochezi. De ce să crezi? Să nu mai vezi. Pe piatra de la țintirim vom scrie cei ce te iubim. Nu prețuim ce ai avut. Noi prețuim ce ai făcut. Dragii mei, și ultima poezie, scrisă de Mihaela, Cristescu, the last poem which I wanted to dedicate it It is written in English, and I'm finishing my intervention here in Romania with the author poet in English. Before spring comes, sounds will fade through silence, and I will touch things, thinking of wheels, the perfect circus of life, rolling into the old road of beginning. Still raining for now. I'm checking the codes in a book brought from overseas, hoping they would remind me of a place, of the greatest Greek city of Priam and his treasure, wearing it, digging it, dreaming it. So I can feel his ear troubles, Sophia, Sophia, Sophia. As they say, Schliemann did not discover Troy, but enter it gate fearfully before spring comes in good and in bad, in sickness and in health. The perfect circles of love rolling into the old road of beginning. Thank you very much.
So, introducing the second bracket of readers, I'd like to call upon Mihaela Simoni to read their things. No? No? All right then. Then, do we have... She's coming? Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you, Mihaela.
Happy midday. We the eagles watch and sit. We the eagles rise by lifts to our nest. High in grey glass mountains we perch on semi-enclosed ledge, peering down into the ground where cars or ants running from a disturbed nest, flowing energy and purpose. Up here, we are superior. Our feet never touch the soil. We do not have to toil. We so swipe the foam, food is delivered. Friendship gained, friendship severed. We think we control the world from here. The height too small to see. Our eyes are semi-shut as we face the sun. Oblivious to the elements and changing seasons, we control the air here in our nest, not too cold or hot. But there is suffering and despair down there. Though we feel protected, we too are only humans. Made from water and flesh, we will return to the ground and lie beneath their feet.
So I didn't have the notes before for Mihaela, so I'll read them now post the poem. So Mihaela creates works in Auburn, performance and publications with Auburn poets and writers, also live poets in the West, and she was reading the poem for page 151. Right, I may mess this up. Enisora, is that right? Enisora. I probably said that totally wrong, but anyway, so I'll try this better. A Romanian writer, journalist, editor-in-chief of the Romanian cultural magazine Emotions and Light, and radio host of Radio Pro Diaspora, reading poetry from pages 126 to 127.
Today we celebrate in Romania Woman. It's a Woman Day. And I wish all women in Romania, here, and all around the world, I wish a wonderful day, a happy day. La mulți ani, femei minunate. And now I will recite my poem. The first, I wish you could dream in the rustle of emotions, in the enchantment of spring, and rest under the wings of thoughts, next to the flames of feelings that flow between the lines. My poem is called The Spring of Feelings. I escaped into a sanctuary, and I was still dreaming about you. Ah, it came like out of blue, and all my feelings were so contrary. I caressed the red poppies on the ground, and I mirrored my inquisitive face into a fresh and magic pond. As I kissed with my lips the crystalline water, I felt a deep and divine bond, a cascade of feelings pouring into a cosmic eclipse. I gazed at a white rose, and softly she dropped a petal to the ground. Then tenderly she smiled to a vibrant dragonfly that flew so close around. Ah, I was whispering to her my story about you, about our first kiss. No, it was neither fantasy nor allegory. It was real, as I stole from you another kiss. I was whispering to her my story of how two hearts fell into a loved abyss. But when she sighed again, I felt so sorry. She will never sense such feelings. She will never taste the sweetness of a kiss.
Our next poet is Jason Gray. Jason Gray is a Mauritian Australian writer living on unceded Wongal land, reading poetry from page 68.
Remember me in the final hours of the winter night when the deepest cold sets in. Remember me when spring's first blush bursts forth and earnest confessions plague you. Remember me in the dizzy heights of summer trysts when the moment plays like it can sustain you. Remember me in the mild autumn warmth when contentment is the major beacon of the day. Most of all, remember me when it rains, and the soil is steeped in cool affirmation, and the leaves and petals gently lilt to anthemic teardrop music.
Our next reader is Marina Robbins. Already there. You're very good. So I'll just introduce you. Amongst other artistic achievements, Marina won Best Image for the Pop-Up Zine 2024, Somewhere Else theme, and is reading today from pages 145 to 146.
Okay, I just want to say it says Romania.
Wait, please. I will change it.
Oh, sorry, I'm Canadian. Sisters, you were an only child for 3 years before I joined the family, and thus a new family was created. Seemed like your whole world changed. You had to make a big adjustment. There were new interactions and very different dynamics were at play. I didn't understand what you were going through, but also I wasn't concerned for you or about you. I didn't have the experience you had where the family changes to cope with. For me, it was business as usual. We spent some time together. We spent most of our time apart. We grew, we shared, but mostly we withheld. We had our own friends and interests. You had your own room. Most of the time I wasn't allowed in. We weren't encouraged to play together, just told not to fight. Primary school ended. High school began and ended for you, and you went on to study. I was still in high school when you made your decision to leave. In those final years, when you were living at home, you seemed to spend your time anywhere but home. The summer when you finished high school, you traveled. When you came home, you came back in time to resume studying. I never asked you about your travels, who you met, what you did, and who you didn't ask about my summer either. Our relationship was like that one could describe as two ships passing in the night with no lights on, so there was no awareness of anything passing at all. Then you left home, left the country, to the other side of the world, maintaining your position of being ahead. You were now a day ahead of us. Once again, the family structure changed. You weren't forgotten. Mom spent lots of time writing to you. These were the days before the internet. Phone calls were rather expensive. Anyways, you didn't even own a phone. You were a luxury in your new country. We got news of each other through our mother over the past 40 years. And there have been some short visits during the past 45 years. At the time of your first visit, you were a new mom, and I was graduating from university. I was glad you made it to my graduation ceremony, but we were now really revolving in different worlds. What did I know about young children? Then your next visit, you had 3 young children in tow, and I was pregnant with my first, still working. But you were there when I gave birth, and you were there, my first visitor at the hospital. Then you were gone again, and well, I was now busy as a mother and working full-time, so we maintained our non-contact. Now, more than 45 years on, our mom is gone, and I'm retired, divorced, empty nester. As luck would have it, I now have a foreign student living with me. She is young. I watch her, and I teach her. She has opened my eyes to what it must have been like for you, being young, and going to a new country. I'm glad there are now so many options for connections to be. Mom is gone, and I don't want to lose a weak connection. I want to build a stronger one. Thank you.
Our next reader is Ilona Kruger. Life is full of little moments that string together to make a unique kaleidoscope. We all have much to share. Reading poem excerpts from pages 97 to 101.
Today I am spring. I am the virgin bud peeping out in the wake of the whipping wind of winter, the breath of a whispered vow. Wow welcomes me into a world of awesome wonder, and thus I entrust myself to the invocation of nature, the hug of sunshine love, the caress of swathing zephyr, the sensual scent of innocence. Today I am summer. I am a festive flower grounded in the earth, yet dancing in breezes. I sway with ease and move with joy, exuding delight for all to embrace. I am the bird soaring sunwards, content with the daily search for sustenance, shelter and community. Like the fish in the depths, my eyes are always open to danger. Today I am autumn. I am the chameleon leaf, casting off green for russet and gold, flimsily tethered to weathered boughs that have seen and heard legions of secrets buried in sanctified perpetuity beneath mounded moss and mellow soil. I watch the fading sunrays, chased by painted pallets of surprise, towards the rising moon. A breeze stirs the air and I drift down to settle with the others that have gone before me. Today I am winter. I am the whipping wind howling, commanding inertia and torpor, seclusion and friendlessness. I am the door that is closed to keep the outside away, wistfully sifting through photographs, stirring forgotten memories, and so the sadness unfolds as the sands of time stipple through the portal. I am the sigh, the breath that is cooling, the body that is tiring, the heart that feels lost, as friends go afar or are lost forever. I am the loneliness of isolation, the pain pooling from loss, with more years behind me than ahead. And the question is asked, what is life all about? Eyes with no sparkle, a face with no smile, shoulders droop as sadness floods in, hope is gone, and wisdom goes unheard. I am winter. But I look for a sign, a token to tell me that all is not lost, that something miraculous, an incantation of magic perhaps, will be summoned, and I said with tears, the virgin bud, today I am spring.
Please now welcome to the microphone Augusta Sappel, an award-winning writer, festival director and publisher who lives and works in Western Sydney. Reading story excerpt from pages 116 to 119.
Frances Bechdel in the Here and Now. To predict the exact moment when there'll be a spring in Frances's step again, we must return to the highest point of the history of the Bechdel family of Bega, a dairy town in the southeast of New South Wales, Australia. The Bechdel family name reaches back to the beginnings of convict entrepreneurialism in early Australia, when ties to Mother England were severed, origin stories rewritten and identities rebranded in the hope that grubby hands could make a clean start. Bechdel is not an English name, nor an Irish name indicating Frances's true ancestral roots, but a name appropriated by her convict forebears upon arrival at the colony's harbour. Inspired by the story of a distant relative's long-lost German lover, Frances's surname had carried with it the kind of mystique an otherwise poor Irish bog-dwelling family did not possess. It allowed her to imagine alternate familial realities, which would explain her love of bratwurst and beer. To understand why Frances was unmarried and seemingly adrift in life, it's important to know the start of the Bechdel family's mythology, of the ways in which her forebears found, made, and understood love, and precisely how she became to be as she is now. Frances Bechdel in the Here and Now is peering through the fringe of her dark hair, a glass of pale ale in a dim-lit bar. She is perennially single, a digital nomad, and frequently sailing through life without intent to lower her anchor. She chases the seasons between hemispheres on the quest for an eternal spring, avoiding the winter cold and the heat of summer, anticipating beginnings. 3 generations ago, and more than 460 kilometres south from where she now sits, Frances's destiny was shaped. Her great-grandfather, Cecil, was on one knee in front of a wobbly new teenage girl called Mercy. Cecil was the favourite son of his hard-faced mother, and was truly filled with the kind of confidence that an ever-loving mother gives a firstborn son. Mercy, who from birth was frequently reminded her looks would mean that she was best suited to the dairy, had trained to anticipate a life of service and early morning milking, not marriage. Imagine Mercy's complete surprise when she attracted Cecil's exclusive attention.
Please now welcome to the microphone Belinda Carvey. She has published 3 volumes of poetry, which she has also illustrated. Reading poem on page 152.
Nature's mind, its beauty, its instinct, the violence as weather rages, the human chaos, the mind of the sky, the turmoil of seasons, nature's emotional cry, a passionate thought that grows, that grips me, that snaps at time. The anger of summer as it rages, the frost of winter as it chills to the bone, the withdrawal of autumn as it loses its leaves, spring's happiness as it thrives, the rules of Mother Nature as they entwine, the mental anguish of the earth and the mind, the brutality as it provides.
Please now welcome to the microphone Victoria Cartwright, a writer with a cloud of cats, a poet, husband, and books aplenty. Reading selects poems between pages 130 and 134.
Puget Sound winter. Wind mists water to a snowy froth as I watch from the cliffs ringing the area. Hair is rumpled by the breezes teasing fingers as I close my eyes. My glasses now dotted with a sudden sprinkle of rain sweeping in from the south. Trees shiver as each are pelted by wind and water. Leaves leave their shelter place and curve, a golden and orange dance around me. The slow and gentle waltz spiral and sink finally to the ground in a daring curtsy. Breathing slowly, I take in the chill and damp. Shivers emerge to cool my heart as I shift slowly on the cliffs. Alone, I watch the storm grow in strength until I am battered. I escape inside the warm cabin and find solace in the heat of your eyes. You welcome me home with a tender embrace and soft speech. To ease the damp and chill from me, fire is laid and lit as we settle nearby. You soothe my weary frame with lingering hands and glances that warm my aching heart. I wake suddenly to find myself alone. Was it all a dream? It felt so real. Summer swim. Blue and green waters glow in the morning sun. Sitting on the bank, my feet in the cool tide. Standing, I view the distance between this island and the next. I slip in with a slight splash to begin the journey. Limbs slide through the chill waters as speed lends heat to my long form. Seaweed floats past with slender fish jetting away in fright. Rock peppers the bottom with starfish clinging with sticky arms. Safely across the narrow passage and up to the sand and pebble-filled beach. I walk with caution to stand dripping and shake back my hair under the warming sun. You wait with a grin and a wide towel to envelop me with. Small whispers, soft whispers of comfort warm me along with the sun and towel. The cabin waits as we walk hand in hand, the sweet touch familiar and supportive. We slip inside with the door firmly shut against the world. Smile flickers over my lips as I snuggle close to you in our shared bed. Another dream? No. Just sheer delight in you.
Please welcome to the microphone Danielle Vieira. Writers for both adults and children, and she will be running a kids writing workshop in the April school holidays on behalf of Westwards. Reading poems pages 54 to 55.
This is my poem, Seashells. Summer lures swimmers to sparkling seas, but not me. I fear chaos buried within bold breakers as they tumble savagely towards love-like sand. I know claustrophobic crowd sounds where shrieks and swears drown out nature's breath. I wither beneath glaring sun-gold rays, with its golden curdle milky white skin. Aggrieved by the ambiance, my soul ebbs with fading waves. Winter scares walkers from the sullen shores, but not me. I embrace stings of salt-slapped winds, wresting energy from their perpetual push and pull. I adore coasting calls uttered by plucky gulls, some saluting their twin in cool glassy pools. I bloom among the beach drift while searching for seashells, thrilling at tinted winks in tide-line tangles of kelp. Elated by the environment, my soul flows with growing peace.
Thank you, everyone. We have now the last part of our event today. Everybody has bought the tickets. If you don't have the tickets, you don't have the tickets. It's easy like this. Somebody is coming later. Dana, do you have the tickets? Everybody? No? Please. Yeah. Our code, please.
I can give one ticket away. Does anyone would like a ticket from me? Okay.
Any more? You don't have a ticket?
I don't have a ticket. Luminita is invited on the stage, and of course, I've displayed the stage. And Augusta, would you like to help us?
Yes, I'd love to.
Thank you very much.
Just to let you know that this photos is a labor of love, 22 hours marathon. So New Year's Eve, I was in front of the Opera House. That means I was there at 5 o'clock in the morning and I finished at 1 o'clock.
Wow.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Okay, so the first winner is E43, Orange E43. Congratulations. Are you here, Orange E43?
Like you are.
Don't be shy. E43. We may have to draw again.
Yes, we have 20. We have 20.
Okay, E51. Hey, Jason! There we go.
Jason, can you please stay on the stage?
Next prize, I don't know how many prizes there are. E77. E77. Oh, that's you on the back? Ah, well done. Excellent. Okay. E37. E37, you've won. Oh, is that you? Oh, fantastic. Congratulations. Next prize, just let me know if there's no more next prize. Next prize is E70.
Oh, that's me.
Hey!
On the stage, please.
Okay, the next person to win a prize and please take the stage is E56. E56, there it is. One more prize for the moment is E45. Please come up. Next prize goes to, oh, this is a good one, E38. E38, hey, you did it. Alright, this is a really important one. This is E42. E42. If that's you, please come up to the front. E74. E74. Ah, well done. E53. Congratulations. Hey, Paris. Next is E58. E58. Hey, congratulations. Everybody's. Okay. E76. E76. We're still going, yes? E72. E72. Number 59. Number 59.
The winners in. There we are.
Okay, now we have a double, so one prize to E35 and one prize to E44. Please come up to the front. Number E62. E62, you're a winner. E36. Okay. And I think this may be, is this our last one? We've got,
yeah.
Okay, is E46. E46 is the lucky last winner, so please come up to the front. E46 here?
Somebody else. Okay. Luminita, we'll have a photo together.
Okay.
Yay!
And looking this way, thank you. Great time. Caravans. Holidays. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone, for coming today. It was a kind of record number of people coming today, and we are very emotional about this. Thank you very much. And we are going to see everybody next year in March for celebrating the 10th volume, which is called That. Thank you.
Jump